Hello Comms Club, welcome to the very last video in the March Matters series. And what I hope I have provided you with in the 21 previously published videos is a way of just challenging yourself to clean up your communication bad habits, to give them a bit of a spring clean and to start communicating now in 2023 in a way that really helps you to have the most impact and to drive the most connection with your conversations, because life happens one conversation at a time. And therefore, in all the other videos, I've shared little techniques that you can use when you are preparing for conversations, having conversations, trying to find a way to say the things that matters to you, articulate what you want, overcome confrontation, and move through all of the little challenges that come when we choose to interact with another human being. And so it felt like the right thing to do to end on a topic which has really actually helped me communicate as a parent. It also has helped me communicate with other adults, but it is particularly been relevant to me as a parent wanting to find the most effective way to communicate with my kids. And so today's video is all about how to get people to open up to you. Because I'm sure you would agree that some of the conversations that we really would like to have with people are the ones that require us to have a decent amount of courage. Sometimes we want to be able to check in on people. Sometimes we sense that something is wrong in their lives, and sometimes there's something wrong in our life that we want to talk about with someone else, but actually it can feel very vulnerable to have those conversations. And one of the things that I have come to realize over the years is that when I want to have one of those vulnerable conversations, there feels like there's quite a lot of pressure involved just to say the words, because sometimes when we articulate something for the first time, we give it an energy and we can't look away from it anymore. We kind of have to accept that it exists. So sometimes when we speak these important conversations out loud, it requires us to manage the pressure, face into the vulnerability, and say the words anyway. And in those conversations, it's often eye contact that can make us feel awkward. And sometimes it's the pressure of having to look into someone's eyes and hear what they've got to say or speak your truth that can feel just too vulnerable. So in a situation where you want to be able to help somebody to open up and talk to you about something, finding a way to do it where you are present and undisturbed, but you don't have to maintain eye contact, can be a bit of a game changer. And there are 3 situations that I use regularly when I want to check in with people. And as I mentioned, I use these a lot with my kids. One is when we're washing and drying up. The second is when we're out walking. And the third is when we're doing a jigsaw puzzle. And in all of those scenarios, whether it's the washing up, whether it's the walking, or whether it's the jigsaw puzzle, in all of those scenarios, my kids and I, we are involved in an activity together, but our primary focus is on something else, but we don't actually have to look at each other while we speak. And I don't know, there's probably a psychological explanation for it. I haven't got an ology in this sort of stuff. All I know is what works. And what I know is when my daughter and I are both looking down at a jigsaw puzzle and we are trying to fathom what goes where and how to create that picture, maybe it's our primary focus being on something else. Maybe it's that we can't see each other's reactions. But when I say to her, you know, how's that little situation with such and such a friend going at school now? Or how did it feel when you weren't selected for this opportunity in your sport or whatever? I find that she is far more likely to open up to me because she's not looking at me. And whether it's the primary focus on something else, whether it's the lack of eye contact, I don't know. All I know is it works a dream. And we can have conversations that we might not otherwise have. If I sat down and looked her directly in the eye over dinner and said, how are your friendship challenges at school going? There's a good chance that she would just fob me off with, all right, because she would feel a little bit like it was an interrogation. And this situation is as relevant for adults as it is for children. When I've wanted to have difficult conversations and say difficult things, not listen to difficult things, but actually say them to another adult, I have chosen to do it when we are out walking, because it means I have a little bit more time to psych myself up. And when I say the words out loud, I haven't got to see the reaction on their face. I'm allowing them the time and the space to hear it, listen to it, process it, and react. They don't see me kind of squinting as I share whatever it is I want to say, and I don't have to see their reaction in the moment. All I know is it gives them time and space, and we're suitably distracted by the act of walking, that it allows us to have the conversation in a less vulnerable way. Because one of the things that I find hard as a parent, and I don't know if any of you who are parents would agree, is that if one of my children is unhappy, I find that really hard to deal with. It upsets me. And if I want to have a really meaningful conversation and talk about something that I know is causing them pain, I struggle to manage my own reaction on my face. And the gem of talking to them while we're doing a jigsaw or washing up or walking is that in the moment I ask the question and they tell me and describe the sadness, the frustration, the pain, the disappointment they're facing, in those moments, if it brings me to tears, if it evokes an emotional reaction in me, I get a moment to mask that before I continue to talk to them, because actually I want to be part of their solution. I don't want to be part of their problem. And sometimes when our children see that we are emotionally affected by their situation, they don't want us to feel bad. They don't want us to feel upset. So if we can't create situations where we can manage our emotional responses, we risk them not sharing them because they don't want to disappoint us, because they don't want to upset us, because they don't want to make us cross. What I found is a lot of those emotions are shown almost without thinking in the moment. And therefore, to create environments where we are present and undisturbed, but not in direct eye contact with each other, allows me to manage my facial expressions and my emotional response to what I'm hearing, so that I can manage it and then be part of a positive solution for them. And sometimes that solution is just holding a space. And sometimes that solution can be part of just asking good, open questions that allow them to explore the subject without taking on board my assumptions, my judgments, and my opinions. Who knows what the outcome will be? What I know is when the people that my kids and I, when we're either washing up, walking, or doing jigsaw puzzles, those environments are great for me to get under the skin of some very vulnerable and potentially upsetting topics. And I don't believe I'd get the connection and be able to hold such a good space for them to listen and just sit in the reality of what they're experiencing if we were looking at each other side by side. And the other thing I found is that those environments, those moments, those situations I put myself in to have these conversations, if there are silences, they're much easier to handle because you are also doing something. You're not just staring at each other in the moment that the conversation has gone silent, seeing who's going to speak next. Because you're out walking, or because you're washing and drying up, because you're doing a jigsaw, the conversation is expected to ebb and flow, and therefore the silences, they feel more natural. And from a previous video, you'll know that silences are a natural part of conversation. They allow people time to think and reflect rather, and also they allow you to hold a space for someone to decide whether the next piece of information they want to share is going to come out or not. So how to get people to open up to you? Sometimes it's about creating a place where they feel safe because they are with you and undisturbed, they're present with you, but they are not on the receiving end of your eye contact. and that serves us very well. So in those moments, just think about, if you want to put some of the techniques that I showed you in the previous videos, if you want to put them into place and there's someone that you love who you just really feel, you just get a sense that there's something they want to get off their chest, or maybe it's you that wants to get something off your chest. You know, I'm a huge believer that life happens one conversation at a time, and therefore making the right experience for the vulnerable conversations to happen can be so helpful. So if you feel that you want to check in on somebody and you just want to skirt around and sniff around and see if there's anything they want to talk about, then finding an activity that you can do together so you're present and undisturbed but not in direct eye contact could be the perfect opportunity for you. I hope that you have found this whole series of videos useful. Don't forget they all exist in a guide on the page. So go to the top of the page, look for guides, and all 22 videos will be stored in there for your ease. If there's absolutely anything that I can do to support you improving the confidence and clarity with which you communicate, then please know that it would be my privilege to be the comms coach in your corner. So reach out, get in touch, and let's overcome whatever hurdle you're facing together. Okay, I'll see you in the page very soon. Bye for now.